There are various hormones which are secreted by heart, kidney and gastrointestinal tract. We know that endocrine glands and their hormones we have studied so far, but hormones, they are also secreted by some other tissues which are not endocrine glands. Here, atrial wall of our heart. Atrial wall of our heart, it secretes a very important peptide hormone which is called as anti-natriuretic factor. It decreases the blood pressure, and when blood pressure is increased, this factor is secreted, which causes dilation of the blood vessels and reduces the blood pressure. The juxtaglomerular cells of the kidney, that also produces a peptide hormone which is called as erythropoietin. It stimulates erythropoiesis, that is formation of RBCs. Endocrine cells present in the different parts of the gastrointestinal tract secretes one major peptide hormone, namely gastrin, secretin, cholecystokinin, CCK, and gastric inhibitory peptide. Gastrin acts on the gastric glands and stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid and pepsinogen. Secretin, it acts on the exocrine pancreas and stimulates secretion of water in bicarbonate ions. And cholecystokinin, it acts on both pancreas and gallbladder and stimulates the secretion of pancreatic enzymes and bile juice. Gastroinhibitory peptide hormone, it inhibits gastric secretions and motility, and several other non-endocrine tissues. They secrete hormones which are called as growth factors. So these factors, they are essential for the normal growth of tissues and their repairing or regeneration. Mechanism of hormone action. Hormones, they produce their effects on the target tissues by binding to specific proteins which are called as receptors. They are located in the target tissues only. So hormone receptors, they are present on the cell membrane of the target cells. They are called as membrane bound receptors. So these are called as membrane bound receptors, and these receptors, they are present inside the target cells, in the intracellular receptors, mostly nuclear receptors. They are present in the nucleus, and binding of a hormone to its receptor leads to the formation of a hormone receptor complex. So when it binds to the receptor, it forms a hormone and receptor complex, like you can see here in this diagram. Now each receptor is specific to one hormone only, hence receptors, they are specific. Hormone receptor complex formation leads to certain biochemical changes in the target tissues, and target tissue metabolism and the physiological functions, they are regulated by these hormones. So on the basis of their chemical nature, hormones can be divided into peptide, polypeptide, protein hormones like insulin, glucagon, pituitary hormone, hypothalamus hormones. Then another type are the steroid hormones. They are cortisol, testosterone, estradiol and progesterone. Then iodothyronins, these are thyroid hormones, and amino acid derivatives, these are epinephrines. So hormones which interact with the membrane-bound receptors normally do not enter the target cells but generate second messengers, that is cyclic AMP. Cyclic AMP or calcium ions, which in turn regulate the cellular metabolism. Hormones which interact with the intracellular receptors, for example steroid hormones or iodothyronins, etc., they mostly regulate gene expression or the chromosome function by the interaction of the hormone receptor complex with the genome. And cumulative biochemical reactions, they result in the physiological and developmental effects also. So this is the diagrammatic representation of the mechanism of the hormone action. Now here it is a protein hormone or a steroid hormone. How does it affects the genome? And here you can see it's a protein hormone, and here it's a steroid hormone, how it is affecting.